Adam, thank you. Look, Granite Staters continue to be crushed by rising prices. Economists at the Federal Reserve Bank say that COVID rescue spending from that plan, the federal spending, caused about 3% of the 8% of inflation we've seen. Others economists have estimated that may even be higher, as much as half of it. So, Senator Hassan, did the government spend too much? And in hindsight, do you think lawmakers should have taken a more targeted approach to minimize the inflationary blowback Granite Staters are now experiencing?
Well, first of all, inflation is really hurting Granite Staters. It is straining families, it is straining small businesses, and it's why we have to work as effectively as we can to lower costs in the short term while we're going after the drivers of inflation in the long term. Right now I have stood up to Big Pharma and worked to pass legislation that will lower people's prescription drug costs. My opponent says he wouldn't have done that. I have proposed suspending the gas tax till we see a great reduction in gas prices. My opponent stands with big oil and says he wouldn't do that either. Now, we passed two bipartisan pieces of legislation in the United States Senate. One, the bipartisan infrastructure bill that will help make our entire supply chain system more efficient and lower costs. The other, the bipartisan CHIPS and Science Act, bringing manufacturing and supply chains back to the United States and lowering costs. My opponent has opposed both of those bills too, even though Republicans in both the Senate and the House voted for those.
General Bolduc, the same economists say that the government money boosted demand at a time when the U.S. economy was struggling to produce, and it also spurred the fastest recovery of any major economy. Despite what we know about the inflationary aspects of that spending, had you been in office at the time, would you have voted for the relief bills passed into law, including the one that was passed under President Trump?
No, I wouldn't have voted for them. They were unnecessary. And she just gave a non-answer. She didn't even answer your question, and nobody even challenged her. That's what she's going to get away with up here all night long, not answering the question. Yes, those COVID relief bills caused problems, and she gave $35 million to a business up in Colebrook that now had to lay off 180 people. 300 people laid off in a business in Portsmouth. Heating and eating, these are the issues, and she completely avoids that. I got to give her credit, though. The first time I heard her use the word inflation was tonight. She doesn't even talk about it. She skips around that, all around that issue, because she's caused it. All her votes in the Senate have caused this heating and eating issue that we have, retirees going back to work. She's created it with her 100% support to Joe Biden's failed policies. And she talks about me. I'm not even there. I don't even have a record. I haven't voted on anything yet. But she claims that I have. She's taken over almost $500,000 from the special interest and lobbyist, second to Chuck Schumer.
Senator, 30 seconds.
Look, it is really important that we do everything we can to lower people's costs in the short term. And that's why it's so concerning that Don Bolduc keeps proposing things that would actually raise people's costs. In addition to refusing to stand up to Big Pharma or Big Oil on the cost-reducing measures we took at the end of the summer, Don Bolduc also proposes eliminating Social Security. That will jack people's costs up, and a 23% sales tax on things including rent and health care. Again, he's trying to conceal these extreme positions.
So, General Bolduc, let's get specific here and try to find some solutions. What's in the past is in the past at this point, but what can Congress specifically do right away to help lower inflation?
Well, lower inflation is to reverse the disaster energy policies that Joe Biden has implemented and that she supported 100%. Reinstate the XL pipeline. Start opening the spigot, something that she just voted against in August again, which is going to hurt us. We have unprecedented shortages of diesel fuel and natural gas. We're going to have rolling blackouts. You know what that's going to do to Granite Staters? It's going to hurt them a lot. So we need to reverse all these energy policies. And I'm ready to vote yes and sponsor those bills down there that are waiting for a Republican to come down there and a Republican leadership to be able to do this, because she can't get it done. She's never been able to get it done, and she votes with him 100% of the time. That's what she does, that's what she'll continue to do, and that's what she's caused. She's caused these problems for many Granite Staters, going into the winter not knowing how they're going to feed their children and heat their homes. This is a moral imperative.
Senator Hassan, same question. What can Congress do right now moving forward, and please be specific?
Sure. So first of all, I'm proud of having been named the most bipartisan senator by an independent group in the country. And that speaks to the way I've worked across party lines to help reduce energy costs as well as other critical costs. But let's be really clear about what Granite Staters just heard from Don Bolduc. He is singing Big Oil's song. Big Oil has made record profits. Shell Oil Company, for instance, made more money than they ever had in the second and third quarter this year, while they are jacking up prices at the pump. Now, that's one of the reasons I've called for an investigation into big oil price gouging. That's one of the reasons I've called for the suspension of the gas tax, something Don Bolduc opposes. And that's why I voted for critical legislation that will finally transition us to clean energy, a clean energy economy, so we can be energy independent and not have to rely on big oil or foreign oil. It's also why critical provisions of that bill give Granite Staters tax cuts for making energy efficiency improvements.
There, General, 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Gas tax that she created when she was governor, right? She's depleted our strategic reserves, which is a huge national security interest. Gas just went up 20 cents this week from last week. It's going to double in December. We just got an increase in our interest rates, another 75 points. That's unbelievable. Yeah. You know what she's doing? She's hurting Granite Staters. She's hurting Granite Staters to the point where she's taken money out of their pockets for the last 2 years, and they know it.
Next question from Gene Mackin.
The last 4 U.S. presidents authorized stimulus checks to be sent to the American people during times of crisis. With energy costs so high heading into winter, would you vote for direct payments to help people? How much and what kind of income limits would be involved? We'll start with you, Senator Hassan.
Well, first of all, during the pandemic, of course, just taking a step back, it was really important to help businesses stay open, help employees stay on payroll, make sure that our frontline healthcare workers had the supports and resources and tools they need, making sure that law enforcement had what it needed, our firefighters had what it needed, and our schools could reopen and stay open. Now, we would need to take a look at what our economists and the economy tells us about additional support payments to Granite Staters. But one of the things that we have done already is I led a bipartisan push to get significantly more home heating assistance for right now, as people are struggling with their home heating bills. That assistance means that New Hampshire's home heating assistance for this winter from the federal government just went up 30%. That is an immediate thing that we can do to help people make ends meet.
And General Bolduc?
Everything she just said causes problems. It creates more debt. Under her 6 years, we had 19 trillion when she started. It's now 31 trillion. That means Granite Staters and Americans are paying $100,000 more than they had to pay under her ideas. Nothing worked during the pandemic. She'd think it kept the schools open. Our children are 22 weeks behind. She masked them. She's for mandates for shots for 6-month-old and above. Everything she talks about wastes money, costs money, and takes money out of everyone's pocket. You want a solution to this? Do what I suggest. Reinstate the XL pipeline. Open the spigot. Reduce the taxes in her so-called American Inflation Reduction Act, which is nothing more than the IRS Expansion Act. Everything she does causes more infrastructure, more government, more money, more pain and hardship for Americans and Granite Staters who are trying to figure out how to heat and eat. This is the issue.
Senator, 30 seconds.
Again, you're just hearing Don Bolduc sing Big Oil's song. Big Oil has thousands of wells that they could tap within the next few months. We've been asking them to for over a year. They are permitted, they are on federal lands, but what you're seeing is Big Oil jacking up its profits, paying their executives rather than lowering prices at the pump, and Don Bolduc is not about to hold them accountable. Now, fiscal responsibility is really important. We have cut the deficit in half in the last year, but ask Don Bolduc why he is against a measure that has cut the Medicare expenditure by billions, hundreds of billions of dollars.
Next question from Steve Butari.
U.S. relations with Saudi Arabia and other oil-producing nations have been strained after OPEC announced they're cutting production by 2 million barrels a day. U.S. officials say the move will drive up gas prices and support a dependence on Russian oil exports, for instance. So, General Bolduc, is it time for the U.S. to get tougher on Saudi Arabia, and should that include the country ending military aid to the kingdom?
No, it's not. We need to get tough on ourselves. We need to open up our own potential. And that's the message that OPEC is sending us. The nations are saying, you have created a problem in your own country by not using your own resources. Resources that are plentiful, resources that we had energy independence in. And we were paying, $22 a barrel. Now we're going to pay $88 a barrel to replace our strategic reserve. All because of her policies, all because of her votes, all because she is so tied to Joe Biden that they become one person. They do the same thing. And she can point her fingers over here all she wants at me about Big Pharma and about big energy, but she's the one that's taken $500,000 of their PAC lobbyist money, not Don Bolduc. She's the one tied to them, not me.
Senator Hassan, is it time for the U.S. to get tougher on Saudi Arabia?
Well, I just want to point out that you don't really address the deficit as with Don Bolduc's policies. His support of big oil, his support for giving them massive tax breaks drives up the deficit, as does his opposition to things like allowing Medicare to save hundreds of billions of dollars by negotiating prescription drug prices. Now, look, Saudi Arabia took a really drastic and harmful step in signaling its support for a war criminal, Vladimir Putin, by saying it was going to cut production and strengthening Putin. They have to be held accountable for that, and I think it is appropriate for us to reevaluate our position with regard to Saudi Arabia, understanding the other interests at stake here, among others, Iran's aggression and support for terrorism. But I do think it is appropriate to reevaluate the relationship with Saudi Arabia. Lastly, all of this would be mitigated if we continue to do what we did in our last piece of legislation to transition to clean energy so we aren't dependent on foreign oil or big oil.